Explosions have once again rocked Iran, and at the same time, Iranian missiles and drones crossed the skies over the Gulf in attacks on the United Arab Emirates. This Tuesday, May 5, 2026, the situation became more intense because the fire broke out inside Iranian territory. At least 10 people were injured in a fire at the Argavan commercial complex, about 30 kilometers west of Tehran. The Iranian press reported that the fire started in the late afternoon, mobilized the emergency team, and was largely brought under control, but the cause has not yet been clarified. Images released by local agencies showed a thick column of smoke coming out of the building, and Reuters reported that it confirmed the location of the video by comparing it with archive and satellite images. While the Revolutionary Guard continued attacks outside the country, targeting routes, strategic cities, and connected areas. There is no official confirmation about who caused the internal explosions, but the circulating suspicions are strong. It could have been a CIA operation, or it could have been a Mossad operation. The fact is that Iran is now under pressure from two directions. Internally, mysterious fires and explosions are hitting sensitive locations. From the outside, missiles, drones, and threats involve the United Arab Emirates, the Strait of Hormuz, and the United States Navy. I'm going to tell you all about this, but right now you'll want to be subscribed to the channel to stay well informed with real-time information in the best journalistic quality ever seen with the credibility standard of Milson Alves. This point is important because Iran is experiencing a moment of military and political pressure. And each fire, without a clear explanation, raises suspicion of an accident, sabotage, a clandestine operation, or even an intense maneuver. The alert grew even stronger because this was not the only case in a commercial area mentioned in recent news. Xinhua reported that on the previous day, a fire also hit a commercial complex in Mashhad in northeastern Iran, with teams from 4 fire stations sent to the scene to locate the source of the smoke and the main focus of the fire. As of the initial publication, there was no confirmation about victims in this second incident. The two cases, one near Tehran and the other in Mashhad, reinforced the sense that Iran is also being pressured from within, precisely while missiles and drones continue to keep the Gulf in a state of tension. There is still no public evidence that SIA, Mossad, or an Iranian false flag operation are behind these fires, but the context makes it impossible to treat this sequence as minor news. In the midst of a crisis with the United States, the United Arab Emirates, and each smoke inside. According to Reuters, the United Arab Emirates said they intercepted Iranian missiles. According to another report, one fell into the sea, and drone and missile attacks injured 3 people and affected flights in the region. Iran denied targeting Emirati territory, but Abu Dhabi stated that it reserves the right to respond. This Iranian denial does not end the suspicion. On the contrary, it increases suspicion. Iran denied targeting the territory of the United Arab Emirates, but alarms were triggered, explosions were heard, airspace was restricted, and Fujairah, a strategic oil-related area, became part of the crisis. Al Jazeera also reported that authorities from the United Arab Emirates accused Iran of attacks after a major fire in an oil zone in Fujairah, with 3 people injured. The Revolutionary Guard seems to act as if it has no real interest in negotiation. While diplomats talk about a ceasefire, the armed wing of the regime keeps testing the limits. The prevailing view in Washington is that Iranian political power may even try to negotiate, but it's the Revolutionary Guard that controls the missiles, drones, speedboats, bases, and attack systems. And if this group decides to keep firing, no one within the regime seems strong enough to stop them. That's why the crisis is taking on a dangerous tone. Iran talks about a deal with one hand but keeps missiles in the air with the other. The fire in Fujairah shows why the United Arab Emirates is now at the center of the crisis. Fujairah is strategic because it is located in the Gulf of Oman, outside the direct passage through Hormuz. This means that any attack there carries a bigger message. Even alternative routes can be threatened. Iran knows this. By putting pressure on Fujairah, Tehran is trying to show that the crisis can spread to ports, oil zones, ships, and airports. That's why flights were affected and air safety became part of the conflict. But this strategy can also backfire on Iran itself. When Tehran threatens international routes, it opens the way for a tougher coalition. The Associated Press reported that a draft resolution at the United Nations, supported by the United States and Gulf nations, threatens Iran with sanctions or other measures. If the regime does not stop the attacks against ships in Hormuz, it will not end. The text also cites freedom of navigation as a central point. This puts the Revolutionary Guard in a trap. If it keeps firing, it could unite more nations against Iran. That's why the current escalation seems so dangerous. Every choice Tehran makes comes at a high price. History shows that Iran has already tried to use the Gulf as a weapon. Earlier, in 2019, when Saudi oil facilities in Abqaiq and Quraysh were hit by drones and missiles, the Houthis claimed responsibility for the attack, but the United States, Saudi Arabia, and European powers pointed to Iran's responsibility. The impact was immediate. Fires, a spike in oil prices, and the temporary withdrawal of a significant portion of global production. The pattern is similar to the current moment. Iran denies it, the damage appears, the region goes on alert, and the world realizes that cheap drones can cause an expensive crisis. Examples from other nations also confirm this risk. Russia used energy pressure against Europe to turn dependence into a political weapon. China pressures maritime routes in the Indo-Pacific to test the American presence and intimidate its neighbors. North Korea launches missiles to gain attention, force concessions, and show the regime's survival. Iran does something similar in the Gulf. It uses missiles, drones, allies, and maritime threats to turn instability into a bargaining tool. But now it faces an American naval presence already in place, angry neighbors, internal explosions that expose vulnerability. What happens next depends on 3 points. First, whether the Revolutionary Guard will continue firing at the United Arab Emirates, commercial ships, and forces near the Gulf. Second, whether the United States will keep Project Liberty limited to protecting navigation or if they will expand the response if new attacks hit escorted vessels. Third, whether the explosions inside Iran will continue to appear as mysterious incidents because a new sequence could indicate something bigger, coordinated sabotage, intelligence infiltration, or internal disputes within the regime itself. So far, the recent verified incidents have resulted in injuries, fires, and damage. But there is no confirmed evidence of deaths in the attacks on the United Arab Emirates or in the reported fires. Even so, the danger lies in it continuing. A drone today could become a salvo of missiles tomorrow. In the end, the explosions shaking Iran and the missiles in the air aimed at the Gulf show a regime trying to survive through intimidation. The Revolutionary Guard fires to maintain fear. Trump responds with naval force and pressure rhetoric. The United Arab Emirates strengthens its defense and sets the stage for a response. I am Milson Alves, an internationalist, and my purpose is to keep you well informed. Accurately informed every day. The news links are in the video description. Like this video, subscribe, and check the comments afterward to stay engaged with the Milson Alves community.